Getting that first one will be the catalyst for change and momentum, because at that point it'll be proof of concept, and a lot of people have asked me how I got my first wholesale deal. So that's why I wanted to put this video together to show you guys, and will actually tell you guys exactly how my first deal went from start to finish, so you guys can understand the process, check out what I went through, some of the pictures and videos that I have, and just get a better understanding of how wholesaling works and how you could possibly get your first deal. So stay tuned. And remember, you are only one deal away. What's up guys, my name is Lillian Chukwueze, and if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome to the family. I drop multiple videos a week, all about entrepreneurship, real estate, and investing. So if any of those topics interest you, definitely hit the like button on this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next video. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I got my first deal along with my partner, who is also my brother, from start to finish. So we initially started learning from a guy named Mark Whitten. I heard about him on the Breakfast Club, and ever since I heard his talk on the Breakfast Club, I became super interested in the concept of wholesaling real estate. So I dove into his philosophy and how he does things, and then along the way, my partner, who's my brother as I mentioned, then brought about Max Maxwell to me, and that's how we started going down Max Maxwell's journey and how he does things within wholesale real estate. And at the same time, not too long after I started digging into Max's YouTube channel, I came across his 30-day challenge. And pretty much once we found out about the 30-day challenge, we hit the ground running. We said we're gonna just jump in there, do the best we can, stay focused and committed to this 30 days. And that was pretty much the start of us getting our first deal. So definitely got an introduction from Mark Whitten, but kind of hit the ground running once we came across Max Maxwell. And Max's challenge was basically was based around driving for dollars. So driving around the city, seeing what properties are distressed, falling apart, tall grass, code violations, everything like that. And just writing those addresses down and calling the homeowners. So that was the premise around his 30-day challenge. Now I do remember that we started driving for dollars a little bit earlier before we came across Max's 30-day challenge, probably like a week or so earlier. So we had a little bit of a head start, but nothing crazy. I don't believe we started reaching out to the homeowners yet. We were just writing down addresses. And once we came across the 30-day challenge, that's when we decided we're gonna go hard and do it every day. Pretty much until we got a deal. So also when we joined the challenge, that's when we decided to go ahead and get a dialer, which I talk about. I actually made a video called the best dialer for cold calling. I'll link that up above and down below so you guys can check that out. So yeah, we decided to get a dialer to help us dial a lot faster. And this dialer provided us three lines, so we were able to call homeowners, 3 lines at a time while we were going through our list. So yeah, we started driving for dollars each and every day. I mean, we didn't take any days off, and we started cold calling these people. So of course, in the process of this, we dealt with a lot of rejection, a lot of homeowners saying no, even though their houses were falling apart, until we finally came across somebody who was actually looking to sell. And I'm gonna show you guys some pictures of the house as we go through the story, but pretty much after we got in contact with the homeowner, he had said he is interested in selling. And it's kind of funny because, when you're new and you're calling people, you're getting all this rejection, you're getting no every single call or every other call, whatever it is. And when you finally get that yes, it kind of takes you off guard. So like when he said yes, I was like, oh, you are interested in selling. So that's when I started to, go through the script. That I also made another video about what questions to ask homeowners, and I'll link that up above. But yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. But thankfully, I kept my cool. I went through, the script that I had at the time, and got some information of the property and went to go see it. So after we went to go check out the house, I mean, we saw it was in terrible condition, literally falling apart from top to bottom. Floor was caved in, roof was caved in. I mean, the property, there's no way you could have lived in it. But it was funny because at the time, the homeowner said he had just moved out like a year ago. And we knew that was not the case, because there was no way that somebody could be living in that house a year ago unless like some crazy storm came into New Jersey, which doesn't happen often. So we knew he was kind of bluffing about that, but we knew there was motivation, so we went ahead with the appointment, obviously. So yeah, basically he was motivated, and we knew he was motivated, but he acted like he wasn't. And the reason we knew he was motivated was because the house was literally sitting there generating no income, just falling apart. And any homeowner that has a house that's falling apart, I mean, there's no reason to hold on to that. It's not generating you any money. It's not doing anything good for the community, for your neighborhood. It's just an ugly eyesore. Then it's not helpful to anybody. And obviously there was motivation. So as we dug a little bit deeper, we found out that he did actually need some money. Not too much money, but he did want to get rid of that. So obviously, like I said, there was motivation, and after we went through the whole appointment, we walked through the house, we talked to him, we built rapport, and at the end of the appointment, what usually happens is that you make an offer. And so we had asked him, what his plans were, and he definitely wanted to sell it. So then at that point, we made an offer. I actually put out the first offer because he kept saying that he had other offers from other people and he wasn't trying to give us a price. So I decided to go ahead and give him an offer. And usually when you give the offer first, it's got to be low enough for you to be able to come up to, because that's just how the game is played. So I shot him an offer of $5K. That really was like, a good solid offer, because like I said, the house was falling apart. It's a small house. And there was not much value to the house. So yeah, I gave him an offer of $5,000, and it was funny because later down the line, my brother had told me that he wanted to give him an offer of $10,000, and me, I'm just naturally more aggressive. So it was funny that he told me that later down the line. But basically, after I gave him an offer of $5,000, he decided that he needed to think about it, and I told him no problem, no big deal. So it wasn't until either the next day or the day after that he actually called me, and I was at work at the time. So I was working at this time, and he called me, and I picked up, and he was just like, listen, is that offer still available? And I was like, absolutely. So he finally accepted the offer. And at that point, I was still at work, but I was really excited, and I knew that we had an agreement. So I think it was either, I don't think I made it to him that night, but I think I made it to him the next day to get the contract signed. At this point, I don't even know why I didn't use DocuSign or one of those online signing things. But yeah, I think he wasn't too well with technology. But anyway, went over there, got the contract signed, and got everything going. And I wish it was just as smooth as getting the contract signed, finding a buyer, and closing, but it wasn't. So pretty much after we got the contract signed, I started marketing the property. My brother was in charge of disposition, so he's the one that started marketing. But at some point we had to re-sign the purchase agreement because I believe there was something like misspelled or something like that. But either way, there was a delay and it took a couple days. So imagine after you get the yes from a seller, having to go back and have them sign another contract. It leaves room for error. It leaves room for them to change their mind or not sign the contract and do something else. So I was thankful that it still went through and he was still interested in doing business with us. But yeah, I mean, if you can, try to avoid not having to sign a second contract with the seller. So after getting the second contract signed, we were still marketing at this time, getting a lot of interest actually. And we decided to actually host an open house. And surprisingly, there weren't that many people that showed up. There were probably about probably 4 or 5 people that came. And this was the first time that we're doing this, so we don't really know, but basically they came at all different times and we didn't really care. But we had put the property on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, and that's how we got a lot of interest. And we contracted the property at about $5,000, and I forgot what price that we put it up for. I think it might have been like $15,000 or something like that. We got an offer that equaled out to a $25,000 profit. But unfortunately, this buyer was they were kind of flaky, they weren't really serious. So that ended up falling through. And then we also had another offer for a $16,000 profit, so selling it at $21,000. But this time, this buyer was also a little flaky. But fortunately, after constantly calling him and texting him for a couple of days, he finally reached back out to us and was ready to get the deal done. So obviously you noticed that there was a delay on our part as far as dealing with the seller, and then there was another delay on the buyer's part and getting him to sign the contract, because he verbally already agreed that he would pay that $16,000 profit, so pay $21,000 for the property. But he was kind of BSing, and as they say, sellers are liars, buyers are liars. You just gotta make sure the people that you're dealing with are actually serious. So he was kind of BSing, but after some time he did come around, and after a couple days actually, he came around and finally signed the contract. And at this time, we actually had another offer that was for $15,000, so that was a $10K profit. So we were pretty much just going with whatever offer that we could that would make us a good amount of money, especially for our first deal. So but like I said, luckily that $16,000 profit offer came back and finally signed and moved forward. So at this point, we went to closing, got our check. We were super, super excited. Contacted Max, let him know that we finally closed our first deal, and he featured us on his podcast. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he featured us on his podcast, on his Max Maxwell YouTube channel, and his podcast, obviously. And we even got invited to sit in on the Mastermind at his conference, which is like one of the biggest real estate conferences in the world, or in the country, regarding wholesaling. And he let us sit in on the Mastermind, and that's where we met so many like high-level people. I mean, we met people that were, you know, making 6 figures, 7 figures. Like, it was crazy. We got to talk to Gary Vee. We got to talk to Max himself. We even got a one-on-one coaching session personally from Max Maxwell. That's where we met so many of our mentors today. Brian Naregbu, the Polites. I met Pace Morby there. Just a lot of great people that are like super high level in the real estate industry, and I was so thankful for that. And that's something I'll never forget. I mean, obviously, like, speaking with all these people was like amazing, and it really just opened our minds up to the potential and what our business can do and what we can do in real estate. So that was amazing. And just being able to learn from each and everybody, I mean, that's just something, that's an experience that, you know, I'll remember for the rest of my life. So Max, if you're watching this, still thank you. Really appreciate it. 2 years later, we're still in this, you know, going hard. And, you know, again, thank you. None of that would have happened if we didn't decide to go all in on the 30-day challenge and actually, you know, go hard and just stay committed to it and get a deal. So that first deal definitely changed our lives. It definitely helped us out as far as like springboarding us and, you know, helping get our more marketing out there. So you really are only one deal away, and once you get that one deal closed, you really have that proof of concept, and now you know that it's real. So at that point, you just naturally feel a little bit better, you know, while you're doing all these things and putting forth all this effort, time, and money, because you know that if you've done it one time, you could do it over and over and over again. So guys, that's the story about how me and my partner got our first deal. He's never in my video, so you probably only catch him on Instagram, but basically, I hope that helped you guys out. If it did, please like the video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet, and hit the notification bell so you get alerted when I drop the next video. And also follow me on my socials on Instagram and TikTok. I'll drop the links below so you guys can follow me on there too. So until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and stay blessed.